From sunny Southern California, we bring you Meet Bridget.
Bring it on, baby.
Welcome back to Meet Bridget, Season 6. Today, I'm so excited to welcome MaKenna Bernardino. MaKenna is an incredible person. I have known her since she was an itty-bitty child. We grew up in the same hometown. But people here in Southern California know her as the Skullptress. She runs a lymphatic drainage sculpting business down here in LA and Orange County. She has worked with all sorts of people, many of them famous. You might have seen clips on her massaging Elsa Hosk, supermodels, all sorts of people that, need to be sculpted and looking their best and feeling their best on the most important days of their lives. So MaKenna is a person who is an expert with her hands. I have had the tree of being worked on by her. So I'm just so excited to get into this conversation because I think it has this unique angle of that we were kids together.
Yes.
We grew up in the same small town. So I just can't wait to see where this conversation goes. So thank you for being here, MaKenna.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Well, we want to start with, I think that, lymphatic drainage is a hot topic now. I feel like pretty much anyone, if you say lymphatic drainage and they're not in, a part of America that has no media, they know what it is. They know the purpose of it. But it is a practice that has been around for a very long time.
Yes.
Can you tell us about how would you describe what you do if you had a grandma or an aunt that was like, what are you talking about, MaKenna?
Right. So I really go more from the body sculpting perspective. I love to work with women and work on texture. So we're working on the surface level of the skin to try and take the appearance of texture away for women.
Mm-hmm.
But we are also doing a lot of different things in terms of draining the body of any inflammation, extra fluid that we don't need. So that's the cool, fun cherry on top. But at the end of the day, we are basically trying to move that lymphatic system to detox your body. We are activating the system so that everything moves. If things are moving in your body, we don't have stagnation. If you are stagnant, you are likely to breed disease.
Mm-hmm.
So the cherry on top is the texture part and the actual physical look and result. But at the end of the day, it's a benefit to everyone because we are moving so much blood, so much fluid, and really clearing that system.
So you often are going into people's homes in order to practice.
Yes.
You have a lot of equipment. Can you tell us a little bit about what does it look like to pack up for a day of work for you? How many clients are you able to see in a day maximum? What does it look like? How long are you working on each person?
Yes. So I have a lot of equipment. I do. You're right. I bring a table with me. So I make sure everyone has a table. If people have a table, awesome. But that's not always the case.
Yep.
I do bring a backpack full of tools, cleaning supplies, all the things that I would need. I can see quite a few people throughout the day. It really depends. I try to keep it chill around 3 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
There are days where I see one client and I take the rest of the day off. And then there are days where I'm seeing 5+ clients. And really, it just depends on schedule. So a lot of people who are working in the same week. So we have award shows, we have festivals, we have things like that that are all happening at the same time. So those weeks are very busy for me and I try to just hammer it out and get through it and then rest on the week after or whatever the case may be. But I work roughly, 5 to 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I try to work 5. I do occasionally work 6. I am a workhorse. I love it. So I will fit in as many people as I can. And I work roughly, I do 75 minutes roughly.
Mm-hmm.
I book everyone out for around an hour and 30. I have clients who are on a 60-minute, I can get them done in 60. And then there's some people that I take the full 90 minutes on, and there's setup and breakdown as well involved in that. So that's about how long I work, but it just depends. Every body is different. So we have to cater to that.
And also you're a living, breathing person too. And
Yes.
This is a job that takes a lot of physical stamina.
Yes.
Even just watching you, when you worked on me, it was upstairs in my bedroom and you carried that table like it was nothing up the stairs. I was like, can I help you? And you're like, I'm good. Can you tell us a little bit about just the physical demands of your job? Because anyone that might want to go into a career like this needs to know that you have to be taking care of yourself before you can be working on other people.
You absolutely have to take care of yourself. And I do my best to do that and fit that in. A lot of times taking care of myself is, hey, I have 2 hours in the middle of my day. I'm going to go home, I'm going to eat, and I'm going to rest.
Yeah.
That's a big part of how I take care of myself. I do fit in physical therapy. That's a big part of it as well. I do have some repetitive motion injuries from doing similar passes and working different muscles and things like that. So I do go to physical therapy once a week, and I spend a lot of time specifically on my right shoulder, which I do have an injury in, and I've been kind of battling with that for 2 to 3 years. But my physical therapists do tell me that if I do take care of my body, I have a solid 10 to 15 years left in me. So I am banking on that.
I love it.
But yeah, I get body work done as much as I can, but I work often on myself. So every day there's a pass that goes through my own body, whether it be in the shower really quick, or I will take the time to pull my table out, actually lay down and work on myself.
Okay. Tell me more about that. Because I think everybody would love to have the luxury and the finances to be able to afford someone to come on a weekly basis or even more, and work on them. But, lymphatic and even body sculpting is something. And I actually think it's, even if you are having someone work on you, having the practice of knowing how to help yourself, I think is a really beautiful thing. And you're an educator in that way.
Yes.
So tell us about your personal routine.
I use a couple tools in the shower regularly. And that's where I get most of my work in, because it's easy access. We're already there. We're already working the body.
Put on the oil.
Yes,
you're wet. It's fine.
Exactly. You're wet.
I've moved all my tools into the shower.
You soap up and you're ready to work your legs, work your inner arm, your abs, whatever. I tell all of my clients to do that. And I do tell them about tools that they can use that are easier so they're not going to hurt themselves, that kind of thing. Yep. I used to go to Equinox religiously, and I'd be in the sauna, like rolling myself out, scrubbing my legs down. And women would be like, can you do that on me? And I'm like, yeah, call me and I will come to your house. I can't do it in the sauna,
Not here.
I'm like, I am dying right now. I'm dripping sweat. I am exhausted. But that used to be kind of my cheat code to like a weekend out or something where I was going to be in a bikini or something really tight. I would hit the sauna really hard, scrub my body down, and that really helped. But I try to keep up with it because I'm standing so much, I'm working so hard. I need that circulation and that blood flow too. So I work my legs often. I can't get all of the angles on myself. So I do like to see people.
So your body can actually be like relaxed while you're being worked on too.
Exactly.
Part of it.
My method is very specific to me. I've taken lots of pieces from different mentors and people that I've worked with, but ultimately I like it done best by myself. So I enjoy doing that for myself. It's a treat and it's fun, and I see really good results. And I look at photos of myself from the weekends and things like that, and I'm like, wow, like that work is really working for me. But yeah, I love the at-home education and the things that women can do to maximize their session, because there's only one of me. So to have clients regularly on the book once a week is very hard for me to accomplish. But also, it depends on lifestyle and budget. It's expensive. I do come to your house. That takes a lot of time. Gas is through the roof. It's costly, so a lot of people can't have me come all the time. And so I love to give them those tools and those tips and tricks to work on themselves so that they can kind of hold on to those results until I see them again.
If, let's say, someone has 5 minutes in the shower, 2 tools they can use, and it's like a 101 on your perspective on sculpting. Where are you starting in your body? What's like a 3 to 4 step kind of little progression? What would your quick routine be for just basics? Everyday routine?
There's one tool that I recommend to everyone. It's called the Onma. It's easy to hold, it's light, and you're not going to hurt yourself with it. And by hurt yourself, I mean badly bruise your legs, your arms, or really damage your lymphatic system at all.
What does it look like?
It's a squiggly, like, scrubber. I always call them scrubber. I call it like fascia scrubbing for me.
Those little things are like the little knobs.
They kind of have little claws or teeth is what this one really has. And it has a handle. So the handle works for you to hold the tool, but also you can use it to drain. So it's a multi-use tool. That's the one that I recommend. And I always say just start in your problem areas. So if you have a lot of texture on your legs, you're going to want to put your time into that area. You can also edge out your abdomen with it. You can work that inner arm, which is hard for women. That's a huge problem area for women. So that's what I say. If you have those extra 5 minutes, that's the tool that I would recommend.
Well, I feel like it kind of wakes you up a little bit too.
Does. Yeah.
I feel like I just have a little scraper and that's how I've just been doing it on my abdomen. But I'm like, it's helped with my digestion. It's helped with like cycle stuff. I've found where it's just like getting rid of some of the extra fluid.
Absolutely.
The fluctuations are going to happen anyway, right?
And it's balancing for your body, right? Hormone balancing. So when you're really doing sessions regularly, you're going to stay very balanced. I'm working with a ton of women who are in menopause, perimenopause, women who haven't gotten there yet, but maybe their cycle is a little bit off. And we have great success with those women in it's just about giving attention to that pelvic region. It's kind of like a no-no space for us and nobody touches it. Nobody. Easy. Yeah. And we need blood flow there. Blood flow to everything, blood flow to your brain so that you are doing preventative work for Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that. We need that.
Is there a progression? Because I've heard say with like dry brushing, right? Like I like to dry brush before the shower, but as how I was taught was like you're kind of starting at your extremities and like slow brushes towards the armpits, like your little hip bones, and then like
your main pumping regions, towards your heart, but your main lymphatic regions, you're going to go here under the armpit and the groin behind the knee. That's where we're working mostly. That's why the front of the body for me, I spend a lot of time on the front because I'm pumping those regions. And then on the back, I'm really working texture.
So is it the same order with the tool you were talking about in the shower? Just kind of just follow that, basically like start out.
I like to go everything up. Yes, everything up. And you can give yourself some light pumping here. We can do taps here to really get the body to activate.
Tapping is also like therapeutic on like a psychological level.
It's amazing.
We had a wonderful, she's an eating disorder recovery specialist with an incredible background, but she was talking about how tapping quite literally changed her life.
It's
in terms of regulation
it's
too.
Huge. My best friend struggles with anxiety and social anxiety, and she's butterfly tapping all the time. And it's a great way. I've told clients with kids who have anxiety, like, hey, just get them to focus in, give some taps, activate their system. You know, that really helps. Helps them focus on something else too. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
What would you say are maybe things about your business that people just don't see on the outside that they might be surprised by or that are particularly hard about what you do?
I think that, I just had this conversation with a couple clients the other day, but I have women of all body types, sizes, but not everyone is willing to post about their experience with me. And I had a client reach out and let me know, she was like, I never would have approached you to see you for a session. I really thought that you worked with thin girls to make them thinner. And that could not be further from the truth. I work with everyone and I am ready to meet you exactly where you are. And we will work from there. I want to make you the best version of yourself. So there's a lot of girls who do see the Juna Bells, the Lelands, the Elsa Hosks on my Instagram. And those are women who are so supportive of my business. They're willing to post about their experience, but that is not my entire clientele.
Totally.
And I think that's a common misconception with me is like, oh, she just makes skinny girls skinnier. It's like, no. I work with everyone. I've worked with women who have lost over 100 pounds. Wow. I've worked with women who have had 5 or more kids. I've worked with post-operative clients, not even selective operations, things that they've had to do, So I'm all about building your confidence for the best version of you. And not every body looks the same. We're all going to look different. And that's what's really awesome about the female body is we all look different. Everyone's a different flavor, and everybody's somebody's everything. So like that, we need to focus more on that, I think.
I think that's such a great distinction and thing to point out that you've made, because someone might go to your socials and stuff, and it is. It's like you happen to have like quite a few of these very visible women are
including myself.
Yes.
Because my body is the one thing that sells my business. Like this is how I take care of my body, it's how I'm going to take care of yours.
I think an important thing, you know, especially in any kind of physical or aesthetic service industry, people do look at you and they're like, well, why would I mean, I've had that experience where I'm like, I don't want to work out with a personal trainer that I'm more fit than.
Yes.
I don't.
Exactly.
You know, like people want to have like an aspirational figure to look at. They also want to say like, if you're saying this thing is working, I want to see that you're working on yourself too. And it's part of what you actually believe and live.
You have to practice what you preach. You cannot confidently sell a product or a service to someone without being that product and that service or the result of that, right? So I think that's very important to me. And also my body being healthy in the best version of what it is, I want to provide that and show people that. I think it's a huge thing on confidence too, and something that I had to build into from childhood, you know, into adulthood, which is hard.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's not something that happens overnight or in one session with you either.
No, it does take time. And that's the one thing that I do tell people is there are people looking to put in work and to work with me consistently as much as they can over time. And then there's people who are looking maybe for a more invasive route. And I will get to that point with clients where I let them know, you know, hey, this could take 6 months to a year to change. So if you're not ready to commit to that, there might be a more invasive option that's better for you. And there's no judgment. You do what you need to do for your body.
Right. And also like, this is how my skill works, you know, and this is the timeline.
This is how I like to do it.
Yes.
And you don't have to do it that way.
It is life-changing, but it's not an overnight fix.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you come into people's homes and working on their bodies in this way, usually, I mean, the impetus for bringing you in is they want to work on an area of texture, or they're, you know, even just anticipating a event or something that's going to be highly visible, or they're going to be photographed a lot. You know, they already have heightened emotions. Yes. And then you're coming in and you're basically with them naked in different parts, you know, on a table.
Yes.
It's a very intimate experience. And also, I mean, you mentioned about like the pelvis and abdomen. It's always been kind of funny to me that in traditional massage, it's no man's land. They don't touch your tummy. And I'm like, I understand our privates and everything, but I'm like, our tummy is like, that's where everything's going on. Like that's where we need that we hold trauma, and we need movement and a little bit of help in that area. I was in Africa with my husband, and we got a massage at like a hotel waiting to go to the airport late. And so it's like not a fancy setup or anything, but this woman in the process of her massage gave me the most wonderful tummy rub of my life.
Mm-hmm.
She was just this really warm person, and she did it with like, you know, there wasn't a question of, do you want me to? She just like, this is what we're doing. And I came out and I looked at Andrew and I was like, oh my, did she touch your tummy too? And he was like, yeah, it was really nice. I'm like, I was healing.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about walking in and, you know, working on these really intimate, sensitive areas that, you know, people may not have touched that often, and your approach to that?
So I moved into doing the house call because number one, I was in studios everywhere, Newport, LA, Pasadena. And I found that people were seeing me from all over the place, and they were getting in sometimes 2 hours of traffic to get there and 2 hours back. And that to me was pointless. I was like, you're coming here to detox and relax, and then you're stressed before, you're stressed after. What is the point? Yeah. Why did you pay me the money to come here? Why did we do this work when we're really just going to ruin it? Mm-hmm. You know? So that was number one thing for me of moving into people's spaces. Also, lifestyle, everyone's so busy. I'm the same person. Like I have someone come to my house to wash my car because I don't want to go fight traffic to do something that simple.
Especially when you're in LA.
Exactly. And so I wanted to make it as convenient as possible. I wanted to take all the work out of this session for the client and put that on my back. That was the number one thing. going into people's homes is wild. There's a lot of vulnerability that comes into that for myself and the client.
Sure.
There are a lot of people who maybe don't want me to come to their house. They're worried. They're nervous.
Like, oh, I didn't clean up.
Yeah.
Because, when someone's in a busy moment where they might need massage.
Totally.
Maybe they didn't clean up after their kids, or maybe
totally. Or their kids are there running around, or their husband's asking them questions. And that, to me, I'm like, never fear that with me. I have seen it all. I have zero judgment. I am the same way in my life. There are days when I don't make my bed, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. We're human,
Right.
So I love opening up that conversation, especially if someone is uncomfortable about that. I'm like, listen, this is not a place for me to come in and judge. This is a place for me to come in and help.
Yes.
And make you feel comfortable. And I think that people do detox and heal much better in their own home and in the comfort of their own home.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always apologizing, like, oh my God, I'm sorry, my husband's going to come in, or I have to take a call, or my kids are going to be all over the place. And I'm like, let them come in.
Yes.
Let your daughters and sons watch you treat yourself and take care of yourself. That is, you don't understand the work that you're doing for them by doing that and allowing them to see that. I love the in-home working with people, seeing who they are, how they operate. It totally helps me with the process of helping them heal.
Well, and even just coming down to the what people wear in their homes and answering the door barefoot and stuff. You're already kind of in a different space.
Yes.
And I think the work is more impactful.
Yeah, totally.
When you're
totally. And I love seeing who people are in their homes. There's homes that I go into and I'm like, wow, I never thought that I would ever step foot in a house like this. It's humbling in ways, and it's exciting, and it's interesting, and I learn so much. I learned about traditional LA architecture and the people that built these homes and how they've changed them and modified them, and it's cool. It's very interesting.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, you've mentioned to me that you are where you are because of some really impactful mentors.
Yes.
People that have worked with you professionally, and then also the impact of your family. Can you tell us about the people who have sculpted you?
Yeah. My family, number one, they are the best. My mother and father are truly, I think, the best parents. I always say, I will find them in every lifetime that I live because they are amazing. And everyone that knows me knows that.
Yes.
I have friends from high school who are like, gosh, we would come into your house, and the wholesome, real, true, genuine love that they provided for you and your sister is unmatched. And it's all honest and it's all true. My family dynamic is really what molded me to be the person that I am. And also having a sister who was 6 years older than me, I got to look up to someone who was just phenomenal in every way. People are always like, does she work as hard as you? I'm like, my sister is such a hustler. She knew exactly what she wanted to do from the moment she arrived on this earth. I'm not kidding.
I envy those people.
Her kindergarten little, what do you want to be when you grow up is do hair for the movie stars.
Wow.
And that's what she did. And she just pursued things so effortlessly and made it through so much. Her 14, 15 years in LA, she built an incredible business. And that was all I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at that, I was like, I want to be exactly like her, which was really cool just to have that inspiration in my life. But yeah, my mother and father were, and still are, they're my rock. I talk to them every day. I tell them everything. They know every single thing about me. There is not one thing I could do that they would abandon me for.
I think that's the most fundamental. I honestly am raising two girls. What is the one thing, if they have anything in their heart permanently from me, it's that feeling that you just said.
It's overwhelming love and support. It's something that I know will never go away. And that alone builds confident children,
Yes.
I think. When you know that you have someone that you can just be like, things are not going well, and I just need you to hear me and like listen to me. And if you can help me, like that.
Such a gift.
Huge gift. Yeah. Yeah.
I know. It was funny. I told my mom on the way here that we were doing this interview.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I just love that family. She's like, the girls are just so lovely. And she's like, and the parents, she's just like, just great family. I'm like, you're right.
There are not a lot of people that would have a bad thing to say about my family and my mother and my father especially. My mother is an absolute ray of sunshine. My father is a hard-headed, hardworking, confident, strong man. And that really molded me as a kid. I watched my mother work, which is not a lot of young girls have that. You got to see that too. Yes. Watching your mother work is so valuable, I think, personally. And she would take her time off, too. There would be moments where she was doing the stay-at-home mom thing, and dinner was on the table for my father every single night when he got home, And she's a woman that gets up in the morning, she showers, she does her hair, she does her makeup, she gets dressed for the day. She presents herself every day, and I think that is so important as a young girl to grow up with that,
and to see that.
Yeah.
That it's like, because a lot of what you talk about is wellness, really. Like you're in the wellness industry.
Yes.
But you're also in the aesthetic industry.
Yeah.
And I think that, if you're not careful, those two things can kind of like butt up against each other.
They can.
But in so many ways, when you're doing wellness, from the inside out, it is aesthetics. And the result is aesthetics.
Absolutely.
And to see that even from the time you were a child.
Totally.
It's pretty cool.
It's amazing. And my parents, they did take care of themselves and they did work hard and they made sure that we had everything that we ever needed. And that's something that now as an adult, I always knew that growing up, but as an adult, it's insane to see what they did for me, what they sacrificed for both of us. I don't have a lot of friends who have that relationship with their family and with their parents. And every day I just wake up and I'm like, I'm so blessed that I have people in my life who like love me, care about me, and they're never going to leave my side no matter what. It's amazing.
Did they have any role in you getting into all of what you're doing now? Like, how did you find what you're doing now?
So basically, I moved to LA and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was working a lot with my sister. I was working at her salon. I was booking different stylists and I would go on jobs with her. And I met a lot of people and I started to hear about lymphatic drainage through one specific client and started working with her and doing that. And so that took off. And I was doing that for a little bit. And I knew I didn't want to stay with that company, but I wanted to keep working in personal services. And I had to figure out how to do that. And so I took a little bit of a break. And I was pretty lost. I was just like, I really want to get back into it. I know I can't go back and work for that company because it just wasn't my thing anymore. And my parents were like, you could just do this on your own. Like you could just start your own business. And I thought about that for a little bit, a couple months, and then I got right back into it. And I did. I started my own business and my parents were there every step of the way. My father and I built out a studio for me in LA. So I was in my sister's salon, actually. The owners allowed me to come in and build my own space. Wow. And so my father and I were doing drywall and putting in doors. And like, it was such an experience. And thank God I had a father who could do that with me. And not to mention, there was a ton of financial support from my mom and dad. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't talk about. I've seen a lot of podcasts like this and listened to a lot of podcasts like this where they're talking to these businesses that are huge
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, oh yeah, and we were in like, like $500,000 of debt, but then we kind of like got through that. And you're like, no, wait, go back to the $500,000 of debt and
that's
how
what people close down. Like that's what
exactly
stops a lot of sparks.
Exactly.
Is like, okay, well, what about this thing? I have the dream.
Yes.
And everyone talks about the dream and the
Yes.
inspiration and the mentors and everything. But I think you're right. Like they don't talk about what about the steps?
The hard parts about the business and being young, like I was 21, 22, 23 in this time. And to see the numbers and the money and the things that it cost and talking to my parents going like, what do I do? Like, I don't have enough credit. I had good credit, didn't have enough credit to even get a loan. And my mom and dad were like, we're going to help you. And that's something that people don't like to admit to, that they've taken help.
Or they think that it's like, oh, then I cheated.
Yes.
Or I didn't do it all myself. And it's like, newsflash, hardly anyone does it all themselves.
Hardly anyone.
Hardly anybody.
That's what I'm saying. That $500,000 of that didn't just disappear in a couple years. Somebody had to come in. They had to seek funding. They had to do something.
Whether it's investors or a network or a business partner or a family.
Exactly.
There are people, that is part of building a business, is finding like, how am I going to fund this thing? And then how am I eventually going to, pay it off, or whatever your arrangement is.
Exactly. And that was the hardest time of my life because I was young and I was headed into a lot of debt. And I think that's something that every young woman that wants to start a business, you have to be okay with that. You have to know that it's going to cost a lot of money. It takes money to make money.
Yeah.
And that was hard. That was really hard, but they fully supported me every step of the way. Like if I needed to go see a distributor somewhere, like see someone to go work, they were helping me pay for that. That was a huge game changer for me. And I don't want that to ever go unnoticed because it wasn't just me. It was a lot of financial support from my mom and dad. And then there was a lot of debt that I had to get out of myself too and work through. And that just takes grit. You just got to work through it.
Well, and I think it also goes to, part of the underlying belief of this podcast. Honestly, the reason why this podcast exists is a personal belief that I think if more people followed their own personal sparks, really the things that are like, I believe this, I have a talent for this, when I do this work, I get lost in it, and they go towards that thing, whatever it may be, and building into the areas of our natural interests and talents, that I think that there will be more prosperity. I think better mental health for everybody. And I think the more we talk about like, okay, I had this thing, this spark from the time I was maybe a young person, and whether it was the exact thing I did or a type, an interest, physical skills, like we'll talk about, but, and then finding a way to keep doing it. And that's when it's like, okay, like it is going to take money. It is going to take time. It's going to take failure.
Yes.
And even at a certain point while you're growing, it's going to take keeping your head down, not being like, is this enough? Did I make it now? Or, oh, like I was doing well. And then this big, hairy problem showed up. And it's like, that's in the moments where you're like, okay, is this thing important to me enough? Do I believe in this enough to push through and trust that I'm going to make it through the debt, the hard times?
Through the debt, through the hard times. Luckily, I started young, so I was like, I can always make more money. I can always get myself out of this. But there were definitely times where I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
I really don't know if I can do it. And then I just remembered, I'm like, this vision, this mission, this dream was put into me. And that is, not everyone gets that.
Yeah.
Not everyone figures out what they want to do. And so that is privilege right there. It's just finding something that I knew I loved. I would hear women say, I don't want to wear a bikini anymore. I don't want to wear a skirt ever again, or shorts or things like that. And I'm like, that's a problem that needs fixing. Like that, everyone says that you build a business because there's a problem that you have and you find the solution to it, right? And that for me was a big one. I was like, I love working specifically with women and making them feel confident. And that is the true currency that like rewards me. Yes, I get paid to do what I do and money is cool, but it's the text message that I get on a Saturday morning that's like, I felt confident in front of my husband this weekend for the first time in 5 years. Like that is what fuels my fire. That is insane to me.
Do you find that I've had so many situations where I think as any business owner, especially if you're like sensitive or there's anything creative about your business, there'll be moments where you're like, I should just burn it all down. Like my personality is particularly fueled towards this, but I have those moments, and almost every single time, especially in the last couple of years, right as I'm in that moment questioning something, I get the message, the text message. Oh, I listened to this episode and I cried today, or I really needed to hear that, or I really believe in what you're doing. And I'm like, did you know that I was like in the dark space? Like, did I just suck you in? But like those little moments of encouragement, and it's like, maybe you're just looking for them. So then they're more likely to happen, but
or we're asking for them in a way. That gives me chills because that happens to me all the time where I will take a couple days off and I'll kind of like rest and reset. And then I'll be like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You know, can I do this? Is it sustainable? And then I get a text that's like, hey, this person wants your number, or this agency's reaching out, or whatever it is. Or like my husband couldn't believe the results or something like that. And I'm like, this is why I do this. Yes. We're back in. We're back. We're so back. You know?
People call them God shots or little winks or whatever, you might call it. But I do believe in like when you're aligned sort of with like your core purpose, you do get a lot of that energy kind of sustaining you.
It's magnetic.
As you're working towards you know, the thing over and over
and
over.
And that's how the universe, I think, works. It rewards you. You know, especially when you need something, it's going to give you.
And you're really like asking for it. From your heart.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, speaking of, the spark and the things that have always been there for you, we were talking about how your work is very physical. It is physical. It's intimate. Let's talk a little bit about you as a kid.
Okay.
I knew you as a kid, which is so fun because I still, when I see your face, I feel like the first time I ran into you in Orange County in adulthood, I was like, oh my gosh, it's little MaKenna.
I was like, what are you doing here? Hi, I didn't even know you were here.
Well, first of all, let's set the stage. Redding is like Redding, California is in Northern California for anyone that doesn't know it. Many people don't because it is like a little vortex of existence. 2.5 hours north of Sacramento.
Yeah. And mostly, I mean, people that don't know Sacramento, it's like, it's close to 5 away from the Bay.
Yes.
Which when we say NorCal, people are like, oh, San Francisco.
Yes, like
and
San Francisco is mid-Cal.
That's Central California. Yes. I always have to correct. I get a little defensive.
Yes.
You know, I'm like, no, we're actually much further north.
Yeah.
Than that. Closer to Oregon than we are to the Bay. Yeah.
Would have been included in the state of Jefferson.
Yes.
Should it have been?
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
It's very different from most of the rest of California. Redding is nestled kind of in the middle of a little valley. We've got like mountains up to the north, but we get up to 120 degrees summers.
No one ever believes me when I say
I know. And like it is sweltering, but it also snows sometimes in the winter. Like we have the 4 seasons up there. I don't even know how many people live there now. The population's gone up, but
definitely
it feels very small town because it's sort of a suburb of nowhere. Talk to me about your childhood in Redding.
My childhood in Redding was amazing. I grew up doing things that a lot of people that I spend my time with now would never do. My parents were very outdoor style people. So if we weren't playing sports, we were either skiing in the winter or we were hunting, fishing, camping. We were doing things all the time. We weren't the kids that got to sleep in on the weekend. We were up, out mowing the lot, going to the farmer's market with our mom and dad if we had a free weekend, which was rare because we grew up, you guys were competitive dancing. You were competitive dancing with my sister. I was dancing in lower levels. I was playing soccer. And then I got into some different sports into high school. Like I raced snowboard in high school. And we were active.
Yeah.
Very, very active. But it's significantly different than anyone that I know in the way that I was raised. Very wholesome, very hardworking. I truly think that's where I get my work ethic is hiking into those mountains, hunting, fishing. When you're doing those things for yourself, you learn a lot about how hard you can work, what you can take.
Well, and also like an intense sense of presence. I feel like your social media is so cool. I mean, you just have a very cool style and personality, but like one minute you're, massaging all these like incredible people, and then we'll see you on like a little sabbatical between award seasons or whatever. And you're like in your real tree camo and like literally hunting game, out in the forest with your dad. And that's your break in so many ways, is tapping back into that side of you. And to someone on the outside, they might be like, wait, aesthetics industry, like wellness girly, but also shooting animals. Like, what is this contrast? So I'd love for you to explain how that all fits together for you.
Yeah. So people have always thought that I came to LA and I completely hid that side of me. I was like, everyone is going to. That was a big vegan movement as well during that time. Everyone was a vegan. So came to LA and I was like, I cannot tell a soul about how I was raised, right? Like I'm going to be tarred and feathered for this. And as I started to open up to the women that I was working with, they were like, you did what growing up? Like you were hunting and fishing? And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's super weird.
Well, not just like hunting for like the photo. You were hunting for like sustenance and like using the parts of the animal. Like tell me about the actual process and what it meant to you.
We eat everything. It's a very sustainable process. We go out, we hunt for fun, but also it feeds the family. And I think that's the most important part about why I put that out there to show people now. Mostly because things are changing, times are changing. People are very interested in that lifestyle now, number one, where they used to not be at all. But that's kind of how I bring my business and my lifestyle full circle, I would say, because it's so sustainable. It's the best protein that you can put into your body. And that allows me to live my healthiest life, right? So it's a connection and it's a grounding to earth and mother nature that I have. And that is wellness. It's full circle. It's not just the doing lymphatic or body sculpting or taking the supplements or whatever. Like we eat to survive, right? And so going through that process, hunting, what it takes to get in, the energy that it takes to hike in or to hike to wherever you're going, and then to set up, and you have to find water. And then you're hunting and scouting and looking, and it's dangerous and it's fun and you're moving your body. And when you get that kill, it is such a sense of accomplishment. It's such a beautiful, present, shared experience that I get to have with specifically my father. My mom does come sometimes, but mostly my dad. It builds a bond with us. We have to work together. The confidence that he puts into me doing some things out there is crazy. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. And he's like, I know you can. You're going to do it. And it's spiritual too. I remove organs. I sacrifice them. I give them back to the land so that other animals can come and feast off my harvest. Right. So I think it is so aligned with what I do and who I am. And I love that I'm getting the opportunity to explain that because I think people look at it and they're like, this is so confusing.
But explain that.
She's on a boat, she's with a fish, she's hunting, and then she's like with supermodels and she's out and like, what is she doing? And she's at Coachella. Like,
which one are you?
Who is she? And it's like, I would say jack of all trades in a way, because really, I like to do it all.
I loved how you described it as full circle.
Yes.
Because, so much of what you're doing with your hands is you explain the philosophy behind your business as your body isn't working against you.
Yeah.
You know, that is the underlying thought. It's like, no, I'm helping your body work with you. Your body already has all of these wonderful detoxing processes, but stagnation happens and we're getting it going again. So your body can do what it was made to do.
Exactly.
But out in the forest or on the ocean, you know, what you're doing is like connecting to the original way people found this type of food.
Absolutely.
The actual source, not going to the grocery store and picking up something wrapped in plastic, but being able to have that experience where it's like, oh yeah, this is the work that it takes in to feed yourself, to feed your family. You know, the presence that it takes. I think the two sides of you are, you know, it's the same thing. It's going from the beginning to the end and keeping everything moving all the way through.
Yeah. Well, and like, I'm truly a caretaker. Like, I love taking care of people. So when I get to go home and dinner on the table I provided for my family, like, that is the craziest feeling that you'll ever have. And it's so present. I'm sitting there eating these gorgeous like venison steaks and going, I did this. Like, I did this, and I gutted this animal, and I took care of it, and we took everything we could, and we sacrificed as much as we could
and honored it.
And it's such a beautiful thing to me. I will never stop doing it. And I make sure to take tons of time to keep up with it. So I spend a lot of time in Northern California. When I've worked myself into the ground, I take a break and I go home. And the air is clean and the water is clean and the experience is right out of the sink. I was just telling someone that the other day. I'm like, you could brush your teeth and then just scoop some water right into your mouth and drink it.
Straight from Mount Shasta.
It is so clean.
Well, I feel like the duality of like growing up in Redding is so interesting because it's like now when I go back to Redding, I'm like, it is such a treat for me because of that. Like I'm like to look up at the snow-capped mountains and, you know, be able to just go outside or like
convenience
the Bridge and all this like these beautiful things and it just feels quiet and very restful to be up there with my parents. But when I was a teenager, I was like, get me out of here.
I was the same way.
Not wait. I need to see people from other places in the world. Like I don't really feel like I fit here in a lot of ways. Tell me a little bit about like your experience as you grew into your teen years. And any maybe even you know, themes or difficulties that you faced during that time that shaped you.
So teen years were the hardest time of my life. And I tell everyone, I'm like, I would never go back to those times. They were really hard. When I was 13, I got really sick. And I ended up getting mononucleosis. And I was too young to have it. You know, I'd like barely kissed a boy. I don't think like we were sharing drinks and things like that. There were a couple people that got it actually near me, and they had a weird like outbreak of it in Redding during that time. So I had gotten that, and I couldn't play sports all summer. I was literally in bed for an entire summer. I lost so much weight. I was skin and bones, barely 90 pounds, fighting for my life. I had trips to the hospital. I was really struggling. It took me out. My like homework to come home from school every day was literally like, I had to come home and take a nap, and I had to like make sure I was nourishing my body. Like I could barely eat. It was brutal. And so when I got over that, I never felt the same. And a lot of things come into that, which is like presence of Epstein-Barr and things that trigger autoimmune diseases. And so I started to struggle again about a year later, and I was losing weight aggressively. My skin was dry. My nails were breaking. My hair was falling out. Like I felt like I was dying, and I was 14, 15 years old. And we struggled with how to figure out what was going on because Redding is small and there's not a lot of doctors available, and no one could really figure out what was going on with me. There were a lot of times where it was like, oh, she has an eating disorder, you know, and that was constantly. And it kind of pushed me into that point where I was like, maybe I do have an eating disorder.
I do. Well, and also, you know? I mean, you grew up as the little one following a lot of girls in
the dance community.
And, you know, it's interesting because So my 3 and 5-year-olds just had dance recitals
Yeah.
this weekend, and it was great seeing them on stage. But, I see so many of these dancers and I'm like having been in that world, dance is so interesting because it's more on like the orthorexia point. Cause it's like a waifish ballerina lines look beautiful.
Yeah,
They do.
they do.
Objectively. That's all the
Yes.
Russian ballerinas. They're all waifs.
Absolutely.
And there's incredible pressure. And also like to move your body in certain ways like that, you can't have a ton of muscle or extra weight on your body to even do some of these things, right?
No.
But the intense physical pressure that dancers are under, and you just, you were younger kind of watching all the older girls in this, but you're also in that world yourself.
Yeah.
Having that perspective already right before you got sick like this.
Yes.
I can imagine like psychologically you're like, well, aren't I? Is everybody like, is it just me?
Yes.
Like
psychologically, I was burnt out completely. You're hormonally changing so much.
mm-hmm.
You're emotional. I'm a Scorpio too, so I'm an emotional girl regardless. I also had a lot of family members who struggled with it, and I was watching that in real time, and I was experiencing that, and they were living with us at times, and so for my parents, it was terrifying, and to really know who knows what was going on, because I barely remember those times now, but there was something happening where my body was reacting. I was not wanting to eat. I was very thin. I was sick, and finally someone was like, you have a thyroid disorder. You have something's wrong with your thyroid. And a woman found that out by just looking at me, because my throat was enlarged. My thyroid was enlarged, and I had nodules on my thyroid. So I ended up going actually to your father's practice, and we did a lot of nuclear testing there. And when the results came back, they were like, okay, 3 centimeters. They're hard. They're solid. They're cold. And they were like, we might need to remove her thyroid because this could be cancerous. And I sat there, and I didn't talk to your father, but it was someone else in that office. And my dad was like, oh my gosh, like this is kind of crazy, And I was like, no, we're not removing my thyroid. Yeah. We're not doing that. You're not going to go into my body. We need to go, like, I want to get multiple opinions. My parents felt the same way. And we walked out of that room, and my dad was like, I'm so proud of you. Like I've officially realized I've raised you to advocate for yourself. And I was like, we're not doing that. I'm too young. It's risky. There were a lot of things that came into it where they were telling me, this could be hard when you want to have kids one day, like things that are terrifying for a young girl to hear, especially when you picture your life a certain way,
Trust me, I can relate.
So yeah, because you struggle with it too. Yeah. And so I went to a family friend who was a doctor, and he was like, listen, I don't think that you have an issue with your T3, T4. I don't think, because you're going back and forth, hypo, hyper. You're technically hypo, but you're losing all this weight. Things are not checking out. We find out that I have Hashimoto's. So I went on a synthetic for a little bit. Nodules went away. Everything balanced out, and I was fine.
Isn't that wild?
It was so wild. And I was so thankful, that like I had that chance, and we were monitoring it, and the nodules are completely gone. So I went from thinking I had cancer for 6 months as a 16-year-old to getting a call like, hey, everything's good. Yeah. You look healthy. Everything's presenting healthy now. And so I think with that, it made me take life a little more serious in terms of my health. And I really was looking into like going gluten-free and doing all of those things. And that was me in high school. I was struggling through that time. And I also was a confident girl. And I felt like there weren't a lot of women who, besides my family, that really did well with me being confident. I found that a lot of women were wildly offended by it. And I remember just thinking like, these women do not support me for some reason. They want to break me. They want to break my confidence. And luckily, my parents never allowed that to be a thing. I think everything is really built in the home. And so my parents were always like, be you. Don't ever be anything than yourself. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for others who can't stand up for themselves. Like, be you. Show your emotion. like fight back, stand up. Like that was always the vibe. And I really look back now and go like, wow, like it's so important as a woman to, when you see that confident little girl, make sure she keeps that spark. Because when you break that, that's setting her up to not be the best version of herself as an adult. And I saw that often, especially in Reading for some reason. I don't know if it was just the small town energy or what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, there's fewer people and everyone knows everybody.
Yes.
Which is interesting because Newport, in Orange County kind of has that feeling to it.
Totally.
But I feel like at this point, I'm like, I've arrived at a place in my life where I feel very like.
Yes. Like you're not changing me.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm good with who I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is something about that. Like we went to the same school, like you go to kindergarten with someone and you know them right through high school.
Yes.
And so it's like once a definition has kind of been placed on who you are, what your role is in your family, in your community, in your school, it's very hard to alter that. And we change, obviously.
You're so right.
So it's like, well, how come I am still, a little sister, shy, nerd, or whatever you get labeled as, right?
And that's
or overconfident.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so I think that a lot of people it's probably a lot of smaller towns can relate to that need to be like, there's so many benefits to growing up somewhere safe and small like this, but I also like the opportunity to tap back into who I am now versus who I was then.
Yes.
Also keeping all the good things, but also like letting go of some things that I maybe don't need anymore.
Yes.
I also think, I mean, it's interesting that you're talking about, like the time with the mono and also kind of feeling like disconnected to your body a little bit. From what I understand of eating disorders and in my own experience coming close to one or being at least in
we all have disordered eating at some point.
I think the majority, honestly, and in our world of image and social media and projection and all of this stuff, I'm like, I think dysmorphia is a universal these days. But in my experience, like the hardest parts of it for me, or when I felt most kind of like out of my body, was when I was trying to, something felt out of control in my life, which I think especially for teenage girls, it's if you feel like something is out of control in your life, which for me wasn't what I was in a serious car accident with my sister where she came close to dying.
Yeah.
In your case, maybe is the mono, and being like, okay, this made me really sick and changed my body in a way that I did not have control over.
When you have anger for it too.
What do I do? Do I have control over my body? How do I get control over my body? What does that look like to get it back?
Yeah.
And trying to establish control. And a lot of times, like if you're in an insular community or, somewhere, even if with the best parents, like stuff like that can show up because we are human, and the desire to feel control over our lives is strong.
Yeah. And you're a kid, so you're navigating so many different feelings and emotions and you're trying to figure everything out. You don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. You're scared. You might not come off always on a positive note, and I had to kind of deal with that growing up of like, oh, she can be like a hothead sometimes or like whatever. And I've really leaned now into adulthood and being more grounded and centered and less like that because I feel like I do have more control now. Whereas back then, I felt like I had none. I was just young and people were telling me, this is what's going on with you. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
It just feels insane. And I've never felt this before. And overcoming that is really, really tough, especially when you're young.
Well, and then the role of the thyroid stuff in there too, because my thyroid stuff presented more formally when I was 21, like graduating college. But it was the same thing. Like I had a doctor basically be like, well, you're skinny. So like,
this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So
you have hypo.
You're good just, and then, but then, my hair was falling out and all this stuff. And I got on the medication. And I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, like I feel like there is blood running through my body. Like I feel like I can do a workout and not feel like I have to lay on a couch for 4 hours.
Totally.
I have stamina, I'm building muscle, and I'm like just balancing out some hormones, and that start. But then even like the journey of that and facing, thyroid cancer for me, it was like, it was just that same doctor being like, oh, you're fine. Never did an ultrasound. My cancer was growing 3 years before they even found it, so it's like the learning, like you were talking about, being an advocate for yourself and how your parents kind of built that skill into you without even maybe you knowing it when you were building it. But when it was time to use it, you're like, no, I need a second opinion.
Yeah.
Or like, I understand what you're saying, but let's, let's see what else we could do right now.
Totally.
And following that impulse, I feel like all of these things, like in a perfect world, would you, if you could rewrite the story of your life, would you be like, yeah, let's keep the Hashimoto's in there? Probably not.
But maybe yes.
Maybe yes.
Yeah. I think yes, because it's allowed me to look at my body in such a different way and treat my body in such a different way. And I think too, what was so beautiful about that moment was the reinforcement that I got from my parents to be like, we're like, good job. We're really proud of you for standing up for yourself and telling us what you want to do with your body, not letting someone else tell you what we're going to do with your body.
Right.
And I think that helped me throughout, because with Hashimoto's, it doesn't go away.
No.
It resurfaces all the time. And every time that I have a flare, I learn a new way to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that has transformed my body as an adult, because the way that I ate was so important. And that I'm like so thankful for the last couple flare-ups that I have had, because they've completely changed my body in a way was so positive for me.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
I feel like it takes a lot these are all
they're
intimate
hard
things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But I think they're so relatable, especially for, women. Thyroid stuff.
Yes.
I feel like more women, if we start talking about it, more women than not, the majority of women that I've talked to have some, whether it's Graves or Hashimoto's or, all of the different things that can happen with our hormones and thyroid.
Yeah.
It's real relatable stuff, but I do think that self-advocacy, and also not, because I think when I first found out about my Hashimoto's and then my cancer was, I felt betrayed by my body for a while.
Yeah.
And I still have those thoughts sometimes. I'm like, how could yoga girl?
Yeah. Me too.
I eat my kale. I drink my water. How could I have those things? And then it was just like, okay, my body is not against me. And it's also not for me. It's not like, oh, I'm going to tell my body exactly what it's going to do and it's going to follow exactly my lead and I have control over everything. I'm like, it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to show up differently each day, and I can listen.
Yeah.
Like you have to develop feedback, right? Because your body's going to show up differently for you every day.
Yes.
And go with that to okay, like things are maybe like, I'm not feeling great today. Like, so what are my tools that I can find my way back into my body or figure out what I'm needing right now?
Absolutely.
And I think that's a gift, especially when you are in an industry where you're interacting live with somebody and training them that their bodies also are works in motion or works of art.
Yes.
And keeping it moving and
well, it's also
taking care of yourself is so important
with wellness and like internal pain and those feelings. Like, you have to understand too, like, this is not external. Like, this is coming from inside of me, this pain, this hard time, whatever. And we can use that to our advantage as well. When I had a flare up a few years ago where my skin completely broke out, and it was like the most damaging thing I thought that could ever happen to me. I'd never had a blemish on my face until I was 26 years old. Yeah. And I remember the first couple months being like, I'm literally not going to leave the house. Like, I'm going to go see clients, completely cake my face with makeup, and then like go home. And I'm not going to do anything else. Didn't want to deal with it. Didn't know why it was happening. And then I was like, no, I need to take all this energy, this upset energy that I have inside of me, and put it toward getting better.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And so I completely turned everything around, cut all of the things that were contributing. And it changed my life in every way. It didn't just fix my skin, but it made me so much happier. I lost brain fog.
What were those things?
I had to go on a very strict diet. And I had to stop working out as much as I was working out. I was working out probably sometimes twice a day, 5 days a week.
Wow.
I was super into physique at this time, and I
Yeah.
really wanted to be like shredded and lean, but like really nice muscle tone. And it was good for my mental health too. You know, like I
Yeah.
would go to the gym and I would feel so much better about myself.
I think especially coming from like our childhood where like dance and everything was a different kind of fitness, right?
Totally.
But then I when I discovered weights, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel great. Like, and it feels so good to like incrementally like increase what you can do. And
Yeah.
like that mentally is just like so empowering.
Well, and pushing yourself like
Yes.
that. Like, I think I got into that a little bit earlier than you guys did because you guys stuck with dance. And I was like, I want to go like roll around in the mud and
Yeah.
like be a little kid.
Yeah.
And so I went into playing soccer.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad, you know, wanted me to have a tight schedule. And so I was lifting weight. I was doing CrossFit when I was 12 years old. Like I got put into that lifestyle early. And it was good for me because I had a lot of energy and a lot of things that needed to be exhausted at that time. And so that to me, I was like, oh, this is how you build a body. Like, this is amazing. But you can also overdo it.
Overdo anything.
You can overdo it. Everything in moderation. And that's what I tell everyone. Like, everything has to be in moderation. And so I was overdoing it. And so my doctor was like, hey, you know, the way that you work out and the zones of workout that you do, which I'd never heard really of the zones of workout, they're making you sick and you're killing yourself. You got to chill. Yeah. So I really took it back. And instead of trying to modify my body with excessive exercise, I decided to do it with food. And I went kind of carnivore. I had to cut a lot of things because they were disrupting me. So eggs was one of them, dairy, gluten. And I was having issues with a lot of different food groups. So we basically went straight to, I'm going to eat steak and salmon for 6 months. I'm going to drink bone broth. I'm going to drink a ton of water, supplement as needed. And then I'm going to reintroduce some things. Yeah. And
elimination.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And it was kind of in my own way. You know, it was a little more strict than I think I needed to be. But when I do something, I just like want to go 100 on it. So I did that. And it completely changed my life. And I knew it wasn't sustainable. I was like, I cannot do this long term. Right. It's too hard on the organs. Like I need fruits and vegetables and things like that. But it changed my relationship with my body. And it also told me like I can get rid of inflammation and I can do that on my own through diet and through eating very clean. And that was just a game changer for me. Now it's kind of the way that I live my life. And I still I'll never go fully gluten-free. I will never be without because I love food and I love to experience life. Mm-hmm. So I do try things and I do eat things that I love, but I also have to reel it in, you know, and keep it low key. Yeah. It can be taken too far. Yeah. But that I think that was a huge part of it. And people would see me and they're like, did you lose weight? Like, we're so confused. And I'm like, I lost inflammation. Yeah. Like my face looks different, you know?
I feel like that's especially like a thyroid thing.
Yes.
Because I'm like, depending on like how inflamed I am, how stressed I am, how much cortisol I have in my life, how much I'm sleeping, how much water I'm drinking, you know, and like how much I've moved my body, like my face, especially, I'm like, can look like when I do facial lymphatic, I feel like I come out looking really different. Even person. Like the practitioners are like, whoa, like, your face looks different. And it's like, yeah, I think that like certain, especially autoimmune bodies, like that is part of it. And I'm like, but it's also like when I see that difference, I'm like, okay, cool. Like my body does respond, you know, to things for the worse, but also for the better, you know, and if I can alter the inputs, I can also alter the output. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we like to close out our interviews with the same question. Okay. What was one quality or characteristic about yourself when you were young that maybe you didn't appreciate at the time, but you love so much about yourself now you look back at it?
Oh my goodness. I think my emotion, my high emotion, I didn't appreciate it. I was always like, why do these things upset me? Why do I need to feel so structured? If I don't have control, the control issues that come with that. Yeah. Why do I feel like I have to control everything and be that way and present and show up that way? And now I look at that emotion and I'm like, I'm an empath. Yeah. And I feel people and their energy. And that's a huge part of my job. Yeah. And it really tells me how hard we can go that day, how much we want to do with the client. And I'm like feeding into that more and using that.
I love that.
Yeah. To structure my business.
Even just kind of like reframing, right? What that is. Like even because I've had the same, like my mom's like, gosh, you're like one of the most self-critical people I've ever met.
Yeah.
And that goes with that need to want to like control. And,
yes.
And as I've grown, I'm like, you know what? That's part of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
But now I kind of see it as like, oh no, I am a person that will forever want to be bettering myself, refining myself, respecting the vessel I've been given. Like I always want, like, why else would I live but to learn and grow and be curious? You know, I'm like that, yes, taken too far can hurt me, but kept in check and respected for what it is, I'm like, is a strength.
Yeah.
Like anything that we have. Also emotion, where it's like, so you'll hear a lot of people be like, oh, it's business, no emotion. I'm like, that might work for some people. But in this type of business, you know, the emotion is, again, a strength. Is something that makes you relatable, makes people be able to trust you to come into their homes and, you know, work on their bumps and lumps and mental health while they're at it. So,
and it's really like, it's not just business to me. And I think that's why I'm so lucky to do what I do, because it is so emotional and it's so vulnerable and it's so beautiful. And it's, it does make me money, but it's not business to me. This is a total art that is fun and interesting and motivating for people and myself. And the whole it's just business is it's tough.
Value.
Yeah.
It's value that you're bringing. And I think that the business follows that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, where can people find you? They want to work with you. They want to follow you. They want to see you hunting.
Yes.
Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's at MaKenna Bernardino. I do not have a website. I'm pretty old school, word of mouth. I take referral mostly, but I am open to taking a few more clients in slower seasons. And that's basically that's where you can find me. I'll be there.
Thank you, MaKenna. This is such a treat. I mean, literally from
it really
the baby days.
I'm so happy that we did this because
good.
It's cool to also see like two girls from Reading that have made it out of Reading, you know? Yeah.
Or hell yeah.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. Hella. Yes, hella.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's our show. If you liked what you heard today, please like, subscribe to, follow, and share Meet Bridget with your circle. The best way to help our work here is to rate and review our podcast. We're listening and constantly working to build something helpful for you. Catch you next time.
Bring it on, baby.